Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Coach Tevin with Speed Academy Sports and Fitness, and today I want to show you a video of how to increase your speed in 30 days. Being that it's the track season and a lot of people are looking to get in the sport, I want to encourage you guys to understand that speed is not only a talent-based skill, but you can develop it with the right techniques, the right tool, and the right practices. So what I'm going to dive into is the 3 ways to get faster, or the 3 components of speed. So number 1, I call this the force you apply to the ground. So that's basically how hard you're, planting to move forward. Number 2 would be stride length. And that's how long your strides are. And number 3 would be stride frequency. And that's the 3 main components of how to get faster. Of course, there's going to be a lot of things that play into it with overall strength training and endurance. But right now, we're just going to touch on the top 3 things to how to grow your speed. So, for instance, we're going to use Usain Bolt being the fastest athlete. And we're going to break down why Usain Bolt is such a freak of an athlete. All right, so first, to touch base on force you apply to the ground. Let's say this is Usain Bolt. All right, and typically, number 1, how do you know you're applying enough pressure to the ground? Is basically, it starts with how much force you're building as you make that high knee lift. So I see a lot of athletes get beat in the 100-meter dash because they're not getting a high enough knee lift as they're running. So for most athletes, their knee drives right about here, when some of the strongest sprinters' knee drive is straight out instead of going down. Now, the reason this is important is to get that knee drive up. It also touches on the stride length. So instead of you contacting the ground right here, you open up your stride to hit further ground contact. But let's talk a little bit more about force applied. So with the force being applied, let's go from the waist. Force applied. That's how much force you're contacting the ground with right after you do your knee drive upwards. This is your force applied. So how much force are you using to driving back into the ground? I know I'm a terrible artist right now, but I'm trying to just give you guys an example of force applied. So that right here, how much strength do you have in your hamstring and how much core strength you have to drive that leg back into the ground continuously as you race. Now with the stride length, even though I touched on that a little bit, this is a very touchy subject when it comes to stride length. I'm going to draw the same diagram here. With stride length, what you want to do is you want to calculate your perfect stride, because if the knee is hyperextended right here, then this is a term called overstriding. So if that knee comes from a locked position going straight back down, driving back into the ground, you're going from driving force back into the ground to now clawing force into the ground. And what that does is it put a lot of pressure on your hamstrings, and that's how you develop hamstring injuries, because you're cycling instead of driving right back into the ground. This is the correct action we want to do instead of cycling that leg trying to propel yourself forward. Now, when we talk about stride frequency, number 3, stride frequency just comes with running efficiency. How efficient are you of a runner? And that comes with your cycle. So, what you want to do is have a perfect circle with this cycling motion. So, how you perform this movement, let me see if I could draw a proper diagram here. So say for example, this is the knee bend. What you want to do is as that leg is coming off the ground, it is cycle right up under your glutes, right back into the ground and driving back down. So you have that perfect cycling motion. A lot of athletes, typically what they will do is have a back lift. And what back lift really is, back lift is when you overextend that leg in the back. So I'm going to draw the two to give you an example. So this is an athlete using back lift. So now they're overly compensating now because they're taking a longer stride turnover time because they're going so far with their stride. Instead of someone that is cycling. So guys, for the 100 meters, this makes a very big difference. This could take you 2 seconds to complete a stride, and this could take you 2.1 seconds to complete a stride. But compound that time over 100 meters, that makes a huge difference. So guys, what I want you guys to really focus on, the way to correct backlifting is working on your hip flexors. So a lot of leg raises, a lot of crunches, a lot of lower back strengthening as well. So you could straighten up that back with the lower back movements. And when you do hip flexor work, that'll help you to drive that knee up higher, and that'll automatically help you cycle better. So that's why athletes like Usain Bolt will always come forth and win a race, because number one, he's applying a lot of force to the ground. Number two, his stride length is bigger than the average athlete. And number three, his stride frequency is just as fast as anybody else. So I hope that video helps you guys. Very important to work on strengthening your lower back and strengthening your hip flexors, because that's where most of the power is generated. Hope this video serves you well, and I'll see you in the next one.